what about me today? What kind of mood do I look like? Same or different?
You look stoned.
Okay.
You look fine.
I rarely feel or say this. I don't want to be here today.
Oh, but you look great. Even your hat.
Thank you. But
Your hat.
see, we have this built-in system here, and usually I don't like this system, but this year I was really liking it. And now it's been taken away from me. See, we have this system built into where we're always on vacation at the end of June, and then into the 4th of July. And that is usually when most of the major Supreme Court decisions are announced. And it sucks because we're not here. And I like to be here to kind of interpret when there's going to be something big. Not every year is there a major decision announced, but we knew this year there's going to be some big ones. And I was so glad that I would be nowhere near the radio when their decision on abortion was announced, because you're all idiots. Yeah. Every single one of you on both sides are morons when it comes to this subject, and yet I understand how passionately emotional the subject is for people. And now today, we've got an extra twist. In fact, we'll start with the real story, the one that no one is talking about because it gets overshadowed by the actual, what it looks like is going to happen in America when it comes to abortion. What no one is talking about, and they should be, is something that I've been railing on for the last 10 years or so. When a country like America's institutions start to break down, you know that society is teetering. And it's the way that you can legitimately, because we run around all the time saying, oh, this is it, the end of the country. Please. But you have a legitimate opportunity, and we've gone through cycles like this. The 60s were one of them, where you can look around and go, wait a minute, every single institution that we're supposed to be able to rely on is crumbling. And when that happens, you really do have to step back and go, are we going to be able to recover? We know over the last 2 years, science and medicine have been completely discredited. It has no trust. It has no value. It's a joke. The government long has not been a trusted institution. Education has completely broken down over the last many decades, and in particular over the last couple of years as parents had to pay attention to what their kids were being taught. That's in a crisis. The military, there's a reason my wife left after 12 years instead of doing her full 20. That's anecdotal, but you can look at the military's operations over the last many decades and kind of turn your head sideways. We were talking about this a little yesterday at the start of the show. We go, wait a minute. We haven't been very good at what we do lately. We love our military.
Absolutely.
And it's not a condemnation of the people in it per se, but the institution of the military. Look no further than the pull out of Afghanistan. And you can blame whoever you want on that. You look at Iraq, look at Afghanistan in general. What is going on with that institution? Law enforcement. We had the story last year. The Philadelphia Police Department lied about a woman being raped for 45 minutes and no one doing anything solely because they were in a labor dispute. And now, an unprecedented piece of American history is occurring. We're getting to watch it today live. No one's paying attention to it. A decision in the Supreme Court has apparently been leaked. The Supreme Court is renowned for its secrecy, is renowned for its ability of these 9 justices, whoever they are, to talk openly and freely amongst themselves and with their clerks and discuss their opinions and know that it's safe, that it's the word that's getting thrown around is sacrosanct. And yet, somebody in the Supreme Court, probably a clerk of some kind, because of their political activism, leaked to Politico, which is a political publication in Washington, D.C., a draft memo that was written back in February by one of the justices, Justice Alito, about the decision that will affect abortion. It is shaking people if you understand how wrong that is. It's not illegal. It's unethical. If it's a lawyer, and almost everybody at the Supreme Court is a lawyer, they will, when they get caught, they will be disbarred for life.
Jesus Lord, that they're willing to give that up.
Because they will then become a talk show hero. They will write books. They will make millions. Yeah. And they will be, probably, the way it's looking, they'll be revered by the political left in this case, because they will be championed as heroes for leaking. I don't know why they're going to be, but this is how it's shaping up so far. I think because, here's the idea. They have leaked this memo hoping, which is so stupid, to alter the outcome of the judge's decision, like maybe public pressure would come along. I don't see that happening. I see the opposite happening. I see them digging their heels in even more. Now, this is a memo that was written back in February, not a memo, rather a draft that was written back in February. And things do change. They go through many drafts, and nothing is official until the Supreme Court releases their actual ruling, which we don't know if they're going to move it up because of this or if they're going to wait until the end of June like was scheduled. We'll see. But it is all about this challenge that the Supreme Court heard to Mississippi's 15-week abortion ban. Many states have passed these over the last year. Texas has a 6-week ban that the Supreme Court said, well, go ahead, you can do that because we're going to make a decision on this Mississippi thing. And the state of Mississippi asked the justices to use the case to reverse Roe v. Wade and also the 1992 decision of Planned Parenthood versus Casey, which was the last time abortion was at the Supreme Court, and they upheld Roe in 1992. And according to the draft written by Justice Alito, the court, if that draft is correct, is going to go further than anyone actually thought they were going to. Because there's a variety of ways that they can nibble around the edges, and they can say that this only applies to Mississippi. Therefore, the other 49 states, where Roe v. Wade is still in practice, they could rule against it. Whatever. According to the draft, they are overturning Roe v. Wade, and they are turning it back to the states. So it will be up to the states to decide if this is true, whether or not abortion is legal in those particular states. We know about 26 states will ban abortions. The other 24, California, New York, and a handful of others will become what I call abortion tourism states. We've already seen this in Texas. They have banned abortions effectively for the last 3 months. Abortions have increased by 800% in all of their neighboring states because people just drive to Oklahoma and elsewhere to get abortions. We're not ending abortion in America. It's just going to be more inconvenient, which apparently is a win for the pro-life crowd. That is what it looks like. So what you have here this morning is you have everyone's hair on fire over something that technically has not happened. You have people, hundreds of people, protesting outside the Supreme Court over something that has not happened, thinking that protesting outside of the Supreme Court changes anything. I don't understand most protesters. I really don't understand people that stand outside an empty Supreme Court thinking that they have some type of sway over lifetime appointed justices. And this is what I mean about the passion and the emotions that go along with this subject. We have people screaming about the assault on women, assault on women's rights, and no one's going to listen to anyone. I knew this was going to be ugly when it happened, no matter what they decided. The fact that it's leaked out, and we're all now sitting here waiting to see when does it become official, does it become official, just makes it so much more 2022. And it puts everybody on edge, and you can just feel it as people wake up. This broke late last night, relatively speaking. Lots of people didn't find out until they woke up this morning, and they're finding out as they grab their phone or they get their news feed or whatever. And everybody's got an opinion on it, and it makes them either sick or elated. I don't understand some of those emotions on either side. This is such a deep subject for so many people, and that's why I don't want to be here, because there's no way to avoid it. And even if I don't read these emails that come in, I see them, and I go, oh, God, do I really have to absorb this today?
I was talking to one of my nieces on the way into work, and she's over in Austria, but she's reading all about this, and we had discussion, and I hate, honestly, this is what I hate the most, is that my female body has been used for political reasons.
Right.
Honestly, on both sides. Mm-hmm. This is all political. And I also, as a Christian, I know this isn't popular, but I don't care. For me personally, my belief system has no business being in anyone else's business that is not a Christian. And I firmly believe in that.
That's not popular within the religious community, you believe? Because I think that's a very popular opinion in general.
It's not a popular, because in a lot of religious sects, our whole country should be based on Christianity, and all the laws should also follow that.
Right.
And so as an American, I don't believe that, because as an American, we are all things. We are people that believe, and we are people that don't believe. We have every type of person in America, which is beautiful. Now, me as a Christian, I have my own personal beliefs, and they're mine. And so I will follow those and do those according to me, not a law. I don't need that. Wherever you fall on it, it doesn't need to be this. It's frustrating as a believer, because I'm not here to tell you what to do with your body. I know what God tells me I should or shouldn't do with my body, but I'm not here to tell you what to do with your. This is individual choice for a woman, and it's all political and gross. And we also have, because I don't remember what you said the stats were, but they're pretty high, where people are. They don't want this abused, like birth control, right? Like, let's just go out and have it's like for the, what were you saying it was? Like when you most need it, there's a phrase you say.
Abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. That's what Bill Clinton said.
Right, yeah.
And that's what the overwhelming majority of Americans believe. And when you poll them on simply pro-life, pro-choice, it's almost always 50-50, give or take. But when you start adding things in, where you start saying, well, wait a minute, do you believe in third trimester abortions? The numbers plummet in terms of support.
Yeah.
Well, what about at 25 weeks? The numbers, they come up a little bit. And then when you get into the first 3 months, that's where most Americans say, okay, yeah. And there's no support for cases of rape and incest, but the extremist sides.
Yeah, so that's my thing is, the overwhelming, this is what gets lost. That we are people that do overwhelmingly, when you say what you said, it sounds like people are caring about that life as well that's in that woman's womb, and they're caring about her. That's what it sounds like when you say that. Mm-hmm. But both sides, when they use it politically, and they make it sound like there's no concern for a baby ever, and I don't believe people are that heartless. And or they make it sound like, that's all that should be cared for.
Well, you've got the two extremes. Since I mentioned one, let me make sure I'm being fair here. The one extreme that we touched on is the far radical Christian right that says no abortions ever, including rape and incest. Ridiculous. And then you've got the far left radical pro-life people who believe in abortion as birth control.
Jesus.
And if you go one step further, we talked about it unfortunately last week. There's a very small, but in America, small can be thousands, tens of thousands group of people who believe in infanticide. Kill the thing after it's born. So those are the two whack job groups that get the most vocal play, and then they gin up people in the middle in one direction or the other.
What I would prefer, and it just doesn't, I don't think it happens enough, quite honestly. I would prefer if you're of a belief system that is pro-life, then do your very best to set up whatever organizations you can to be there for women that maybe they don't want to get an abortion, but they also don't know what they're going to do. Like, they literally don't know what they're going to do. So provide all those resources for them and help them to have an answer by the time. And I know there are lovely organizations that are out there for that, but they're not at every street corner, and they're not available to everyone. And I just think it all should be, because we're America, it all should be available. It should be available if you want to go do that. They should have lovely organizations that are helping you save that baby, helping you along the way. Like, both should exist because we're the United States of America, and this should not become political. Quit using my body for your gosh damn political garbage.
Well, and of course you are espousing what the country was founded on. One of the biggest lies that I continue to rail about and have my whole adult life is this nation was not founded on Christian principles. Founding fathers were deists. They did not use Christian principles to found the United States, and conservatives and Republicans who repeat that lie over and over again do a disservice to their country. And as you said, you should be an American first.
Yeah, Dawn, you're singing such gospel to me, specifically the part where you're saying that it is an unpopular opinion to hold something near and dear to your heart, but not demand that it's pushed on everyone, nor weaponize it for political use, for a social justice cause, for it to actually be personal and intimate within yourself and not a talking point that is abused and used by people on whatever news outlet it may be, whether it's Fox, CNN, or friggin' whatever QAnon's we have it on now. It's very, very, very it's disrespectful to a lot of people's beliefs in the way that they have now been weaponized, and unfortunately now people have to associate Christianity with this or leftist ideas with this because it has been forced down our throats.
Well, what's the idea of a separation of church and state? Isn't pro-life a church idea? It's not really something that needs to be intertwined in government, in my opinion, right?
So, a couple answers to that. Remember that the separation of church and state is actually not in the Constitution. That was a Supreme Court decision, ironically, as we talk about this. Okay. But what the argument would be, Kyle, would be that it's not. We're not arguing it from a. They don't argue it in the court from a religious perspective. They argue it from the perspective of, excuse me, of their version of science. And there's two different things there. More and more evidence is showing how the viability of a fetus earlier and earlier in life. There's an irony to that, by the way, a quick offshoot. A lot of, and again, we've only stumbled into this, the religious side of this, because you can't talk about abortion without talking about religion. I promise I'll get back to Kyle's question. But I laughed this morning. There's an element of religious people, every now and then Dawn demonstrates this on the show, who get very freaked out about some of our advancements in medicine and the things that we could do, whether it be cloning or saving lives, extending lives, things like that. But boy, are they quick to jump to the advancements in science this morning when they're talking about how we have created so many great things to allow a fetus to live as early as 15 months. Then it's okay.
15 weeks.
15 weeks, sorry. It's okay that we have made all of these medical advances. We can take a 15-week fetus out of a woman and literally keep it alive only because of our advancements in science. But no, we're not going to consider cloning or anything like that. So that's a quick offshoot. But they argue also that life begins at insemination, which is unprovable. It's not provably wrong. It's just not. How do we know? We're still trying. We don't know anything. So it's a science argument that they make. So they don't make these decisions based on religion, but it's a great question.
And I feel the reason that they're starting to do that is because they think that that's what they need to do for the cause, right?
Absolutely. This is all about winning. This is all about winning.
That's exactly it. And just my belief system. And it's so hard to say because there's no judgments out there. Like, my belief system is, yes, life begins at conception. That's when life begins. Okay, well, that doesn't mean I'm going to go force you to believe that. I would never in a million years make you believe that. You don't, my God, you can believe whatever the hell you want. We're in America. I mean, no one should be here to be forcing anyone to think how they think.
Hello, Michael. Go ahead.
Hey, Rad Radio. I'm really nervous on this one because this is kind of passionate to me, so forgive me. But I just going to throw a monkey wrench. When are we going to start talking about the rights of dads? Roe versus Wade, we're all consumed there. But last time I checked, I think you can patent DNA or genetic material now by Big Pharma. I'm just wondering when the dads are going to step up and be like, you know what? Despite whether or not this is your body, that's half my kid in there. And before you make a decision on whether you want to end that kid, do I get a say?
That's next.
And I'm wondering when that is going to actually be a conversation. I'm a single dad, and I don't know. I'll listen to you guys on that.
I understand that. That is the next war on this front. If this Supreme Court decision is accurate, and again, we don't know anything yet. It's a draft that was written in February. Maybe somebody changed their mind. If if Roe v. Wade is overturned, and it's returned to the states, the next argument that will be made in the 26 states that we all believe are going to outlaw abortion will be that dads have the right to stop abortions in like purplish states, the states that don't know exactly what they're going to do. They've already started to make that argument, and that's why this is seen as such an attack on the female body, because there's the general consensus amongst the pro-choice movement that if you don't allow me the choice, you're attacking my body. Now, it opens the door for the argument to be made that a man can come in, the father of the child to be, can come in and stop you from getting an abortion, further infringing on your right. So I understand it's a passionate issue for you. It's going to play out. This will take years. I'm not even sure we'll still be in business when all that works out. But that is the next front on this.
Yeah, and honestly, whether I agree with what he feels or not is so irrelevant, but you said it a couple minutes ago, and I think it's so worth reiterating. We are all just sitting here talking about basic American ideals, and it's almost controversial that these subjects are being brought up or people are stating certain opinions when it's just the general consensus here is I would like my feelings about this to be discussed, or leave my religion out of it as a weapon, or this is how I personally feel. I don't want to force it on you. Everybody should be able to make their own decisions. These sound so controversial.
Yeah, and you know what else is really sad is that there is a place for that conversation for the gentleman that just called. Mm-hmm. The problem is that since the beginning of time, man has made decisions for women over everything.
Yeah.
And so you're going to get a lot of pushback. I think that it's valid that a father would feel a certain way about his child. If his belief system is that's a child, that's devastating to him, that his child no longer exists. That's heartbreaking. And it should be a conversation we should have. It's just, you're going to get the initial because of all the other decisions you men have been able to make over our lives since the beginning of time.
You know what's so funny though about that one is it goes to something that you talk about all the time, Dawn, on the Dr. Rob segments, is that's as personal as it gets between the man and the woman.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it shouldn't have anything to do with society and laws. It should be, oh my God, I got you pregnant. You and I are going to talk pick better kind of thing. And the point of what you always say is, don't have sex with someone if you're not ready for this.
Absolutely. See, this is my whole thing. This whole thing could be solved if we all, and trust me, no one's perfect. None of us are perfect. We all make, choices, mistakes, whatever. But it's like, I don't know, maybe at least know this on the one night stand. Are you someone, this dude here, he's a single dad, right? If you're going to go have a one night stand, find out how she feels about abortion first.
Yeah,
right?
good
I mean,
idea.
honestly,
right.
Because if she happens to get pregnant, then at least you both know going in that she's going to, for you, she'd keep it because that's what you would want, right?
Yeah.
If the woman's like, oh, no, then you know not to have sex
Figure
with
out
her.
And
consent and abortion.
Right, we know it's a mood killer, but tell a joke and see how she reacts or something.
Well, even if the men are able to stop an abortion coming soon, what would happen in the case of rape? See, somebody rapes a girl and then he goes to jail for it, and he's like, "Oh no, I still want her to go through because I have a right to a child." In a sense. Wouldn't that be crazy?
A great Netflix series that would
I
be.
mean, that is.
Oh man,
that reminds me of that is a faith I can't even comprehend, because there are nuns that have been raped and they have those babies, and I just
scary.
that is a I'm just sitting there. Wow, oh my
It's
God,
terrifying.
we got this email.
Yeah.
We will not. This is not like an all day thing, but we're going to have to go back and forth. We're going to have to deal with some of the emotions on it, and if anything happens, everybody's waiting for the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts, to put out a statement of some kind about whatever internal investigations are going on or whatever. So we got this note from Daniel. It says, "Man, this is a heavy topic in private conversation. You all are taking on a lot with this today. It's so personal, private, and so sensitive on any side. Good for you, Rob, but I wouldn't want to be there either."
Well,
you for that.
Listen, another person, as you just got through saying, how personal and private this is, but we make it so public.
Exactly.
And we just,